So welcome to the Property Business Podcast. We've got an ever amazing guest with us this week. Jack Bowyer, how are you? Have I said it right, first of all?
Close. Jack Bowyer. Number of
Oh,
different
as in
pronunciations people go
Lee
with.
Bowyer, the football
As
player,
in Lee
yeah?
Bowyer. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been a complete idiot with that one, so apologise, Jack.
That's all right.
But welcome to the podcast. We've got James and Jonathan with us this week as well. How are you, boys?
Yeah, very good, very good. I was away for the weekend, had a friend's wedding over in Switzerland. But luckily when I was away, Wilma, we agreed one offer. And also when I was ordering drinks at the wedding, Jack sent me a message to say we had another offer agreed as well. So had a good weekend, a bit red-faced from the skiing on Saturday, but good to be back and lots to sort for this busy week.
And Jonathan, how are you, mate?
Yeah, really good. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me at all?
We can't hear you.
Or not?
I can hear. I can hear
line?
you now. You haven't got the greatest line.
Okay.
It looks like you're in a sunny pub garden.
Yeah, well, it's my sort of local. Just came along to obviously do a bit of work and chat to you guys. Finally back from Costa Rica. Sun's out. Had a bit of rain earlier, but yeah, just adjusting back into time zone. But yeah, really looking forward to the next stint of work. Just going to be good.
Cool. So, Jack, the main theme of our podcast this week is how basically don't be a secret agent. We obviously had a quick chat earlier and you told me a bit about your background, but tell us a little bit about yourself and we can go into how you're getting on in real estate. So tell us a bit about yourself first.
Yeah. Hi, guys. Thanks for having me on. So first became an estate agent over 10 years ago now. I was focused on lettings at a company called Sterling Ackroyd. We were a fiercely independent agency, some really good people there. I learned a lot and I loved it. I absolutely loved being a negotiator, running around, agreeing deals and seeing some amazing properties. And quickly worked my way up. I got the job that I always thought I wanted, became the manager of my office. And at a similar time, I got bought out by a corporate. So I had a good stint under them for about 18 months. But for me, it took the passion away from being an estate agent. It was more targets and KPI focused than sort of customer experience. And
Do you
I
still
didn't get
sell
out.
real estate when you are the manager or do you just manage the office?
No, so I was the lettings manager, so we're on the letting side, but I didn't do any lettings viewings. I actually stopped doing lettings valuations when we got bought out by the corporate. The number two started doing those. My job was quite simply to train and coach the newer recruits, which I enjoyed. But there was an awful lot of what I felt like was box ticking for box ticking's sake, and it took the fun out of it for me, put it that way.
It's a common theme across a lot of people once they reach the sort of managerial positions is that what got them there in the first place was and the excitement of the job, and then
Yeah.
it sort of becomes you're always coveting that manager or the area manager or director level, and you finally get to it and it's not what you expect it to be. And I think there's plenty of people I meet, and myself included, that got to that, and you sort of lose the buzz of being an agent, I suppose. And the difference is, of course, when you're sort of you can't do it all because the volumes that you're required to do require you to do that. That's I find anyway.
And what type of money can you all of you will probably know this, but what type of range of money would you earn from that type of role as a manager?
In London, probably 65 up to 100, I'd say, as a branch manager. And then every year when you smash target and do very well, the first meeting with your director in January is well done. You've hit target. We're just going to tag back your commission slightly so they kind of keep you just at the kind of same level. But it's perfectly fine. Yeah, it's a good salary. But then I guess what net take home for 4.5K a month.
It's also the volume that's required to do that as well. Is certainly where these offices that I was working that were turning over close to 2 million quid, which is a lot of transactions in order to be able to achieve that. But the actual commission that I was getting was in the single digits on that, and so you're having to do so much work, and the vast majority of your efforts goes back to the company. Now, until you know something different, you're happy with it to a certain point, but gradually it starts to sort of dawn on you that the more effort that you put in, you're not actually getting anything back. And as James mentioned, there are times when you really put the hammer down and do really well, and rather than be rewarded for that further, it's actually kind of you're curtailed. You have your wings clipped and brought back down to earth again, and say, right, work harder next time.
So, Jack, what happened then? You were working with them, and you decided that you wanted to do something a bit different.
Yeah, I loved being an estate agent, but I felt like I was no longer an estate agent, and I was young. I was earning what I thought was really good money at the time, but I decided I need to do something different. So I went to a property marketing company, a company called Spec, and I dealt with loads of different estate agents, helping them up their marketing game. So it's photos, floor plans, virtual tours, that kind of thing. It was good fun. It was very different. It made me realize that when I was an estate agent in a corporate, I always thought I was in sales. I kind of was. Everything comes to you when you work for a corporate agency. You pick up valuation requests, you pick up people that actively want to work with you, and of course, buyers and renters typically come to you too. So then, working in a sales environment where I had to go out and find business, I found really helpful for the role I'm in now.
Yeah. So then what happened? How did you end up at EXP basically?
So similar story actually. I got the job I thought I wanted. I became the boss of that part of the business, and then I got approached by a friend who I worked with at Sterling Ackroyd, who was working for another property technology company, and it was all about designing a much better experience for clients. And the brief he was gone out with was go out and find a non-dodgy estate agent to come and help us onboard estate agents. And luckily he thought of me. So hopefully that says something. And then I got speaking with more and more people as this self-employed broker model has been picking up momentum. And I took the leap with a different company. I learned an awful lot, worked with some really good people.
What was
But
the
it wasn't.
company, just by interest?
It was a company called EO Estate Agents. They're
Okay.
also based in Southwest London. Lovely group of people. Did some really good work with them. I just, as these things do, sometimes you meet people that, are slightly more aligned with what you want. And I think the EXP model and meeting with James and John quite early on just made me just think about certain things that I'd prefer to do if it were my name above the door as opposed to the previous companies. And that's where we've landed. I'm here now.
So how long have you been with EXP for now then?
I've been active since September, October, I think it was, something like that.
So pretty new.
Yeah, fairly new.
And
And
tell us how things are going.
well, this is really good timing because last week was definitely the best week I've had so far. Um, as everyone here will know, but anyone who listening might not, it's a massive roller coaster. Like highs are really high, lows really, really suck, and you end up pulling your hair out. But I'm really enjoying it, and I feel like it's not a straight trajectory, but it's on the way up for sure. So yeah, I'm really happy, and I really feel like some stability and it feels like it's definitely getting there, and it's getting there soon.
Yeah, the truth is when you become self-employed, let alone when you're going into real estate, which is a up and down industry, but when you're self-employed, it's tough. The first 2 years of a business is a lot of hard work setting everything up, and that's effectively what you've done. You set up your own business. But then in real estate, it's obviously completely up and down because the amount of transactions that fall through.
Yeah.
You think you look at it, you look at your pipeline, and you go, "Oh, I've got five homes under contract. I'm going to be earning this much money." And then someone in the chain falls out, or someone decides that they don't want to move anymore, or whatever it is, and then suddenly they're like, "Oh no!" And it is up and down. But once you've been going at it a long time, like obviously James and Jonathan both have not ridiculously long time, but it didn't take them that long. But they've obviously both in previous podcasts said that first 6 months to a year is tough. You're still in that initial period. I remember Jonathan saying, that he was. I remember him saying about when time you're into it. This is tough. I need some business to close soon. Got through that difficult patch and then hasn't looked back. Now it sounds like this week's been a big week for you, and you've had some big wins. Talk to us about how those wins have come about, and how you've started in your first few months, and how you've gone about getting new business, setting up basically a new company.
Yeah, I think I mentioned I was self-employed in a role before I joined DXP, and I think I was a little too shy almost when I was doing that. I think for a lot of people there's almost like a fear of, you almost don't want to tell everyone what you're doing just in case it doesn't work out and then you look a bit silly. But it's actually the complete opposite. Like when I decided to join EXP, it was a real last swing, and I wanted to put everything behind that. And speaking with, the good thing that we've got is both James and John and a number of other people that are in our crew, they're all doing really well. And they're just saying that these are the things that I can advise you to do. And it's up to you how much you listen to them, but I've tried to listen as much as I can. And one of the big ones was tell everyone that you know what you're doing. So I actually deleted social media a few years ago because I found I was wasting too much time on it. But now it's a huge free source of potential business. So I've activated new accounts. I've re-added, re-friended just about everybody that I know. And I'll be surprised if there's anyone I've ever met that doesn't know what I'm doing right now. So my net's pretty wide.
Yeah, it's really important for everyone to know what you're doing when you're self-employed. Completely agree with that. They have a saying in the US of "Don't be the secret agent," and so it's about letting everybody know. So, in regards to the business that you've got at the moment, is all of it friends and family, or have you done any? Have you sent any leaflets out, any letters? Is it all is it just people that you know, or have you been doing stuff on social media and other people have reached out? How have you got that business?
Yeah, it's been a mix. I was very fortunate. I've had a couple of collaborations with James. One of the ones which you mentioned last week, James was introduced to somebody by someone he knows, and it just happens to be a building which is 2 along from me. So we've worked together on that sale, which has been great. Other ones, I've had friends of friends. I've had people that I've worked with, and not just worked with in an estate agent capacity, have recommended me to friends and family of theirs, which has been pretty awesome. It's just, look, there's this guy, Jack, that I previously worked with. Have a chat with him. It's never a guarantee, but it's just enough to get you through the door sometimes. And at that point, if they believe in what you have to offer, then you stand a pretty good chance of helping those people.
And when those people have reached out,
Jack,
have you? Sorry, go ahead, John.
I know. I was just going to say, Jack. Like one of the things that I really struck me before you even, joined us, and I think I'd seen you on Instagram and I'd seen the videos that you did and the information that you were giving out to people for free, and you came across as, I know you said you didn't really do much, but the confidence that you had, I thought that the way you presented yourself was great. And I think you've told me that some of the feedback that you've had from the information videos that you've done has been really, really positive. And so I think you're one of your really good strengths is you are you, and I think people really resonate with that. I think that's clear for everyone, is to, like you were saying about the imposter syndrome, as they call it, not wanting to shout about what you're doing before you've been successful. I think by doing that and being confident, you've really sort of created a good sort of profile for yourself. I think that will really stand well for you going forward.
Yeah, thank you. I think it was something that's intentional, because I think as agents, we have generally not the most favorable name in the industry. And I came back doing this. Part of the reason I wanted to do it for myself is because I didn't always agree with some of the things I was being asked to do in bigger corporate agencies. Like one of my targets at one point was to cut 10% of the stock's properties by at least 10%. And sometimes I just didn't feel that it was necessary. Sometimes I thought it might have been more beneficial to, yes, potentially reduce it a little bit, but to a lower price banding on Rightmove. But I would have been bashed if I didn't reduce it by 10%. And I didn't agree with things like that. So I want to give straightforward, practical advice to people. Hopefully it helps. If it, the way I'm trying to see things on my valuations now is I'm there to offer them as much help as possible on the sales process, about how to pick an estate agent, what to look out for. And I'm allowing now up to 2 hours in my calendar for an appointment. And previously I would have been like 30, 40 minutes. And I'm basically just trying to be as helpful as possible. And hopefully they'll agree at the end of that I know what I'm talking about and I'm the person to work with. But if not, and they go for someone who values it way higher or something silly like that, maybe they'll come back, or maybe they'll tell their friends like, oh, I probably should have gone with that guy. He was really helpful. He was just more realistic with price rather than promising me the moon.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that like also Jonathan mentioned that he's seen a lot of your content on social media. So talk to us about what type of stuff have you done? Is it just you saying, I've got this house for sale, or have you done a bit more than that?
Yeah. So it's probably the least of my content is saying like what's for sale. I'm trying to help people understand the industry a little bit better, because chances are you've either not sold a house before or you haven't sold one for a very long time. So you don't really know what you're getting into or who to work with. So I'm trying to shed some light on the industry as a whole. I'm trying to offer tips and advice on selling, on picking an estate agent, on just anything property related, with the idea being that I went to like a seminar or something a long time ago, and someone was like, right, you can have that conversation with one person, or you can put it on social media and you can have it with, I don't know, 100, 500, 1,000 people that follow you, but it also remains there. So, there might be 1,000 more people over the next year that stumble across my profile from one way or another. And I get to have that conversation again with them without me actually having to do it. So the idea is that I've got a lot of things out there, like a bank of, like an online digital CV for people to get a vibe for who I am. And hopefully, I'm not for everyone, but I don't need to work with everyone. That's the benefit of working for ourselves.
And I gather
that's a really good point, actually, Jack.
Sorry, go ahead, Jonathan.
Sorry, James. I keep butting in on you. No, I was just going to say, I think something that sprung to mind there is just about the individuality, and I think there's a point to raise around that. In that, so Jack, you're probably 1.5 miles down the road from me,
Yeah.
And we've also got quite a few other brokers that are within a very small distance. And I remember when I first started out as being an independent agent, I was kind of really worried, thinking, oh my God, there's someone else down the road doing the same as me. And I think that's something that plays on a lot of people's minds sometimes, especially if they were to look at the group that we have now, pushing up towards nearly 40. Do you think, oh my God, it's saturated? There's two other brokers down the road, and we're going to be head to head and competing with each other. But like you said, you don't need to work with everyone, and because of the way that the EXP commission structures are, we don't need to sell 20 homes a month to be exceptionally successful. And there are some clients that will really like you, Jack, and there are some that will really like myself or want to work with James or whoever. But the key is that if you get that instruction, Jack, and you bring it on the market, that we can work together to sell it and both help your vendor to get sold,
Yeah.
and both of us benefit from it. The high street is so ingrained in this competitive mindset. I mean, we used to, in my previous firm, not the very first one I started at, we used to call all other agents enemy agents. And, it really kind of, I think the way that we do things is so different, because, if another high street agent in the majority, let's say KFH in my area, got a very strong presence, take a lot of the market share. If they get a listing and I have a buyer for it and I call them and say, I'd like to go and view your property because I've got X buyer for it, their response usually is, don't worry, they'll find it, and they'll block the viewing. Whereas, you and I, Jack, if I'm about to hopefully get instructed on a lovely 2-bedroom flat on Penworth Road, you'll have loads of buyers for that. We'll send it straight to you. We'll put it on our WhatsApp group, and you'll be able to view it, and we'll get a deal, and both of us be really happy because we've sold somewhere. And we've got countless examples of that. There was one on Marcus Street, Brokers Open, that got sold by Elsbeth, who's down in Streatham. She had a buyer for one of her places in Streatham. So I think it's just something that popped up, thinking, because of your personality and my personality, people will work with different people, but by doing so, we still work together and get the place sold as well.
Yeah.
So, Jack, in regards to future plans, what are your plans in regards to getting more business? Is your whole business plan going to be social media, friends and family, or do you have plans for mailers, like leaflets, letters? What are you looking to do long term to get more business?
Yeah. I've tried various things, and I think one of the biggest things that people always talk about is consistency, and I'm guilty of not having been consistent on some of those things. And I think that's a good avenue for me to get my face out there more. You'll all be familiar with things like the magic letter, which is something that a lot of the EXP agents use. Something that I want to bring, especially as the weather warms up and hopefully people are a little more receptive to having their doors open and talking to me, is I want to start door knocking. So I want to start knocking on doors of people who've been struggling and going to go through the similar sort of attitude of, hopefully I can help. And if I can't help you, then maybe I can help someone that you know.
So my real estate coach used to tell me that you should have 3 marketing pillars, and you should concentrate and just work on those 3. I made the mistake quite often of having like 10 different ways of trying to get people, and I would be not great at all of them because I'd be trying to spread myself too thin. And he used to always just say, pick 3 and just nail those 3. I mean, one of the things about you is you're clearly very confident in front of the camera. You're a good-looking guy. You're presentable. You should use that. And I think if you send just a letter out to someone, that probably isn't going to utilize your skills. And if you're really comfortable in front of the camera, then you should use that as much as you can. And so one of the things that I haven't spoken to any agent yet who's actually invested any money into Instagram and Facebook advertising. They're just using it as a platform for free advertising effectively. It's really cheap to put your videos out there, and just even if you just spent budgeted £5 a week. And I'm more than happy to, in fact, I'm going to say it now. I'll put a session on and let people I'll do like a screen share and show people how to do this. But, everyone should be like, I know I always, James and Jonathan have amazing content. You clearly do as well, right? So spend a little bit of money, not a lot of money, but put your face everywhere, just within your demographic. And especially when you've just sold a listing and when you've got a new one, is put that out there, do amazing video of the home and put your video out there. And then when you've sold it, put that video back out there again and just be like underneath, just sold this home. Has anyone got another one out there? Because I've actually got buyers who couldn't get this home that wants that home. And you make business from business and just letting everyone know that you're busy. But that's what I would double down on if I was you, Jack. Double down on what you've been successful already and just spend a little bit of money. And what I would always advise is every deal that you get, take a percentage of that, say it's like 10% or something like that, and then just keep putting that back into marketing and just keep doing that and keep doing that. And I can tell that you're going to completely kill it. But I think people are better at different things. I think I love the Tash, like as an example, right? You look a bit different. So in America, you have to stand out. Here, real estate agents, or estate agents as you call them, everyone dresses the same. Everyone talks the same. Everyone looks the same. And as you pointed out at the beginning of this, they've got a bad reputation. Basically, estate agents are like second-hand car salesmen here. There's not a reputable career and job as how people generally see it as. In America, it's completely different. In America, it's a really reputable job. You make a lot of money from it, but everyone does it. So you've got to stand out. And so you've got, for me, I made myself British. So what did I do? I went all in on the British thing. My my business card was me with a cup of tea. I branded my car with a Union Jack all the way over it. No one knew my name. Everyone knew me as the British agent. Like, that's what people knew me as. Whereas here,
James, you should bring
people
back the
don't.
Tiger King, James.
Yeah, yeah.
You should
One
bring
video I
back the
dressed up
Tiger
as the
King. I
Tiger
think
King
that would be
in
amazing.
a video. Yeah, I know.
You sound
But
like
what I'm trying to
Austin
say
Powers over there.
is, but because like, keep the tash, like, look a bit different. People will remember who you are. Try and be different. Whether it's just you're different. Like James's videos are very good because he tries to make himself very, very, very different. So just go all in
I'm just
on
the
that,
bold agent.
and I think you will. You will. Yeah, exactly. In America, you would literally do that. That would be your thing, and you'd go all in on that, Jonathan. You'd go all in on that. There's a guy who does a lot of videos who is bald, and he always wears a hat, and he does loads of these online training videos for becoming an agent, and he wears the same hat all the time, and everything he does, he wears this hat, and just to help advertise him. But I think you're doing really well, Jack, and I think you're gonna absolutely kill it.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the hat. There's an EXP agent up north, Linda something, and I saw a video that she did on one of the EXP trainings, and someone asked her where the hat came from, and she said people just said they like my hat all the time, so I just wear it in every video now. It's like they know who I am.
So Jack and James, you obviously you've worked together. You work together. Tell us about how that works in your and how you balance that. How did that come about?
Do you want to take this one, James?
Yeah. Am I?
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can. Oh, he's.
Go
Go ahead,
muted
James.
yourself.
James, you should be good now, mate. Oh no, now you've muted yourself. I muted James because of the background noise, and now I think he's muted himself on his end.
It's all right.
But even though
I'll
on our
add
end it
in
says
just
he's not
while we're
muted.
waiting for James.
I'll give my
you hear
spin
me?
on it, maybe.
If anyone's watching
go
the
for it.
video, it's fantastic of his finger just pointing the screen.
Yeah.
Sorry, John, you were going to say?
No, I was going to say I can just add in there for James while he's fingering around trying to sort his screen out. One day we'll get to a professional studio. We're on our way to it. So I think, look, in terms of collaboration, Jack and James obviously got a listing that happened to be in his building. Because of the sort of different stages that people are at in their business journey, you'll start to get more leads than sometimes that you can deal with. But also, if you're better, like I got a referral from a networking event for a property that's in South Croydon, and it's 5 minutes away from where James lives. But James is a much better place to deal with that listing than I am. In the first early days when I first started, I would have probably taken that listing and driven down to Croydon every day to go and sell it because that's the only thing I had. But now I've got lots of things going on, and I would pass it on to people to help to help that vendor get the best possible outcome for it. I've got a listing that I've possibly got coming on in Camden. We've got a new agent, Stephen Codner, who's just joined up in North London. And he's much better placed to deal with that listing than I am. So we're going to collaborate and we'll work together on selling it. I don't need to keep 100% of everything. And if I did, I wouldn't be able to service the clients that I've got at the moment. But if that was my very first listing, I sell, when I first started out, I used to watch, $1 Million Listing. It was one of my favorite shows. I loved it. I still do. And, it's probably the best US show out there to show you, how it's done properly in the US. So, James, I don't know if you comment on that, but
yeah, it's really good. That's what made me become an agent. There was watching that show. Both the originally in New York one, but the LA one's really good as well.
But the point I was saying
that's not about real estate. That's just a reality show.
Yeah, exactly. But the realtors in New York will sell Manhattan Island and maybe parts of Brooklyn. They don't just focus on I just sell Soho or West Village or Tribeca. But so I look at London and I can sell anything in London if I want to, but I think there are some people that focus on being just I don't know, the Croydon agent. We can work it however you wish. You don't need to be hyper local, but you can be, and that's one of the beauties of this setup, is that you can collaborate with people now across the whole of London if you want to, but you're not forced to. You can sell wherever you want. And that's what I quite like about it.
Can you hear me?
James, I think we can hear you now.
Cool, yeah. So
Yeah.
I think since Jack started, I think we've done 3 deals together. So the first one, a house in Collier's Wood. I used to live there. I now live in South Croydon. Jack was just starting out. So myself and Jack co-listed that one. He did all of the viewings, handled the buyer. We had a WhatsApp chat. We were both in contact with the vendor. That was an awesome result. I think the best one we've had is in Fulham Riverside. I don't think there's been many transactions in that building recently at all. Obviously, Jack lives by Wandsworth Bridge. I live in South Croydon. Jack did all of the viewings, worked with the buyers. But myself and Jack, we both spoke to the vendor, and that needed a lot of polite but firm conversations to get that done. And it still needs a lot of polite but firm conversations to get the conveyancing through. So it's as John said, it's utilising the agents in the network, which we have now. We've kind of conquered. Well, still got a long way to go to kind of conquer them, but we are basically geographically anywhere in London now to service the client, for us to work together, to have little WhatsApp chats, to share ideas. If Jack's thinking about what kind of feedback to give, he can kind of soundboard me, and kind of vice versa, really. So 3 deals done. And then as I said, when I was away this weekend, I was ordering drinks at a wedding, and Jack sent me WhatsApp to say, amazing news, offer agreed for the one in Wandsworth, because Jack literally lives 2 buildings from a client that's passed to me who's best to service that vendor. Obviously, Jack, because he lives 2 doors down from the building. Yeah, so done 3 so far, but hopefully 3 of many to come as well.
So obviously doing really well since you started, Jack. How would anyone get hold of you? How would we follow you on social media?
I have Move with Jack on both Instagram and Facebook, and Jack Bowyer on LinkedIn.
Great. And is there anything else you wanted to chat about today?
I think I imagine there'll probably be people that are considering EXP that are listening to this. I think something that doesn't get mentioned enough is being careful who you pick as your sponsor, as you'll find out when you sign up. And I think there are different avenues you can go down. I think you'd be hard pressed to pick a better group of people than the one that I've been lucky enough to end up with, like working with you guys, and there's a whole bunch more people. There are super experienced people, there are newer people to the gang, and I think any question I had a question around Japanese knotweed the other day, and there was like 4 or 5 different people all piping up with like really helpful information. And then someone else had some information about a lease extension the other day, and again, everyone was really helpful. I think all of that's great, and we all really want to see each other do well.
As you've said,
I
Jack,
think that's a really good point to mention.
you've said a few times that you want to make 2024 your best year. So we're fully supportive. We're trying to help as much as we can to make you that most successful year for you as well. So yeah, fully behind you, and very grateful for all of the work that you have done as well.
Yeah, no, thank you to you guys. It's really appreciated.
I was going to say, just to add in as well, if you know Jack, or if you've seen Jack on Instagram or on any social medias, you couldn't do better than to be with Jack. Jack is, he's new to XP, but he's got a lot of experience in being an independent agent, and also just putting in the graft.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things we haven't spoken about, but Jack has worked his socks off to get where he is. He's kind of like a duck treading on the water. You see all of what's actually gone on in the background. So if you want. If you know Jack and you feel that you want to get involved, reach out to Jack, because he'll help you, and we'll help you as well. And that's the beauty of this, is that Jane, we're all connected and part of the same organisation, so to speak, and we all help each other in every way that we can. But reach out to Jack, because he'll help you.
Cool. Jonathan, James, how do we get hold of you both as well before we go?
So for myself, just Google Jonathan Woods. Hopefully I should come up. Numerous channels, but LinkedIn, I'm Jonathan Woods Real Estate, and the London _agent on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram, James Hughes Property, or just Google James Hughes powered by EXP.
And I am James George on LinkedIn, and JG_EXP on Instagram. Boys, thank you very much for everyone coming on. Jack, it was an absolute pleasure for you to come on as well. Hope you all have a great week, and I'll see you, Jonathan and James, next Monday.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming, Jack.